So the 71 Montebello became far more famous than we had initially expected. What was it called? The Judgment of Paris. The Ridge came in fifth. It came in, I think, ahead of one of the first gross, but right in the middle of the 10 wine tasting. You've got to understand that in that day and age, there were about 4, maybe 5 California wineries, small California wineries, that were attempting to make really fine Cabernet. 4 of them, well, 3 or 4 were from Napa, and Ridge was down here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. 1885, an Italian doctor who had come to San Francisco and in fact was the principal doctor to the Italian community, wanted to grow vines as a doctor. He wanted to make wine, and he looked around at various regions. The Santa Cruz Mountains was just starting to be developed. This area, which I think to his surprise, was called the Montebello District. And I'm sure that attracted him immediately, given that he had grown up within, 20 kilometers of this town called Montebello in Italy. In '85, he arranged to buy the property, and in '86, he began to build this winery and to plant the vineyards around it. His first vintage, as far as we know, his first Montebello vintage was either 1891, 1892. And he continued to produce until, the winery did until 1920, when of course Prohibition brought a stop to everything. He put into the Paris tasting of 1900 and won a gold medal for his Cabernet. Cabernet was something that people on this mountain were looking at as far as what they could plant that would work in a cooler climate. You can say, from what we see today, with limestone soils, why didn't they plant Pinot Noir? Pinot Noir Burgundy was not as famous. Cabernet was, even in that day, was the best known of the fine wines. This is a limestone ridge, something that's very rare in California. The French, of course, feel limestone is an incredible element for fine wine. There's no limestone in Sonoma or in Napa. There's some to the south of us here, but really this is an unusual place to grow grapes. Stephen Spurrier had a small retail shop in Paris, and he decided, as the bicentennial of the American Revolution came around in '76, that he would do a celebration with California wines. For me, when he was here in '70, and we talked, and I was expecting that we would put in the 1970, which was this more structured, bigger wine than the '71. But Patricia came back. I wasn't here. She picked up the current release, which was the '71. And afterwards I said, oh my God, that's really too bad. The '70 would have stood up to, to the others, even better. And these guys, if any of them have had a good California wine before that tasting, I would be surprised. The French, of course, when the results came out, in this country, it became not only for them, but very controversial about, was this fair? Did these guys know what they were tasting? On and on. Really, can we trust these results? Because the article in Time magazine laid out this great fact that California had done so well. And the comment from France was, all very well, but in 30 years, we'll see where these California wines are, and we know these mainly 1970 Bordeauxs are going to be showing beautifully. And in 2016, which would have been the 40th, the 71 was still on that plateau, had not faded a bit. We haven't opened this year. You know, we've got so few bottles. You know, we're down to, I don't know, something like half a case, maybe a little more. Maybe a few words about it. It was a cool year, very elegant. Speaking of, you know, where the wines are now at 15%, even more, the Cabernets in California, not ours, but in general. This wine is 12.2 alcohol, and typical, we were making the wines principally in 12.5, 12.8, 13. This was a cooler year, so 12.2. My hope is, and I should say expectation is, that it will show beautifully. But of course, you never know. The wines were just brought up from the cellar, and they did not have time to stand up. And so just like anybody with a bottle of old wine, you can imagine you really have to let it stand for a few days, because if it's a fine wine and has not been, you know, cleaned up before bottling excessively, it's going to have thrown a sediment, especially in 50 years. And so here was this bottle on its neck, and so we have a situation where it's not going to be something we can decant. We're going to have to eliminate the sediment as we decant, which is certainly not the way that we normally would approach this. I'm using a corkscrew, a special corkscrew called a Duran, which is great for very old corks. I didn't even, you know, want to try it, although the 71, the corks were very good, and my hope would have been that you could take it out with a regular corkscrew with no problem. But to be safe, I wanted to really use this Duran. And the cork is, in fact, at 50 years, soaked all the way through. The other thing is the ullage is really pretty good. It's in the lower part of the neck, but it's still in the neck, which is, given that the cork was completely soaked, is marvelous to see. The wine smells great, so we'll see. But so with 50 years, when my French friends thought that in about 10 it would have faded, we'll see how the 71 is. Boy, that nose hasn't oxidized or materized. Still beautiful. It's gonna actually open up in the decanter because the seal was really good. Layered, full-bodied. There's still fruit there. It's just astounding. I should have said to Stephen, let's do that 40-year repeat, because the wine is going to show so well. So I have no regrets that it was the 71 instead of the 70. 70 is still strong. It's going to go out a number of years more, but to my great surprise, here's this elegant, balanced, and I guess that's the word I should stress, is that from the beginning, the 71 was so beautifully balanced that gave it the chance to age the way it's aged. That we really feel that if, as you go to bottle, that the wine, as young as it is, has come together to the degree that you can really see that balance, that it's not excessively tannic, that it really, the elements have begun to come together you're going to have this chance of a wine that will age a long time. So 50-year-old Cabernet from California is the 71 is a great example.